All right, everyone. You're back with the next episode of the Raiders Rambles. I am Jolt, your chief host of the show, and joining me is our co-host Noble.
Good evening, good midday, good afternoon, good morning, and good night.
It's that time, all over the place.
Let's bring chaos. Actually, no, let's not. Let's laugh at other people who do.
Oh yes, there's a lot. We have a lot. A fun-packed schedule for this week. And what better to share this around with some new and with some, well, to me, a new face, and also some returning faces. Well, first off, we have back, and it's all in the name. No dragons, please.
Yes, welcome back to this time and place that you have chosen to come and enjoy.
I know it's been a while since we've had you last.
It has. It's been a while since I have even been able to catch a stream with all the busyness that's been going on with life.
Yeah, well, that makes all of us. I mean, I'm friggin' just stretching myself too much at work, and I'm like, oh, I need to step back.
Yeah,
At the
same.
time, you guys. In fact, I don't know. I guess I kind of, you know what's funny is I kind of called you on a whim because last week it was apparently a week where everybody decided to go out and touch grass, and that left me and Noble like stranded and out and hung out to dry, and we make the show work, which we did.
Gotcha. Yeah. Unfortunately, I had already had plans, but I'm glad to be here
Right.
this week.
No, it's all right because like honestly, going out to touch grass and live your life is actually more of an admirable thing, if anything.
Yeah, except for when the grass is covered with snow, then it's a little cold.
Oh yeah. No, I don't exactly get that. At least Noble and I don't exactly get that very often enough for such a thing. But
I'd
yeah.
have to go for a drive for that.
Well, actually, you'd have to leave the friggin' continent for that. Yeah, and a drive all the way up in the mountains, which yeah, a couple hours. Still, could be worse. But anyway, now our other joinee for this week is Rolu Black.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and those in between.
There is no really in between. There's just the T or whatever it is isn't really a recognized thing anymore.
Oh, no, I know. It's just humor from Brandon Rogers. It's years old humor.
Yeah, some lovely reference.
Oh, God, yes. I
Yeah.
quote him regularly.
Yes, they don't do comedy like they do these days.
Unfortunately not, because
No, that's a
dark
shame.
humor is hilarious. It's back in fashion, guys.
That's a shame. Old-fashioned comedy needs to go back into fashion now.
People
That is
need to
very
learn.
true.
People need to learn to when to be offended and when to take a joke.
I'm offended
agree.
at that comment, Noble.
I'm offended that you're offended at his comment.
Well, I'm offended that you're offended that I'm offended at that comment.
Well, I'm offended that Joel isn't the only one offended.
I'm offended Jolt isn't.
I'm offended now? I'm supposed to be offended right now? I'm supposed to feel
There we
offended now?
go.
There we
Yeah,
go.
There
you're
we-
supposed to. If you don't agree with the mask, then you're screwed.
Join the hive mind.
I can't breathe. Ah. Oh.
Well, if you can't breathe, take a breath.
There we go. I can read from being all that feeling offended. I'm sorry.
I'm surprised I didn't hear a screech.
We wouldn't want to hear that though. But that's all good
Oh,
though.
dear God, no. My ears could not handle that today.
Victory screech. Leedle, 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 lee.
Mihoy,
Nah,
mihoy.
probably no. Probably need to do the frog screech.
Oh, man.
I could do a death metal screech, but I don't think anybody wants to hear that today.
Oh, now that'd be fun. Well,
Don't tempt me.
well, let's get some stuff started first. But to share with you what we have for going forward into the season and to formalize our stamp, we now have the key art for this season of the Raiders Rambles. Yes. It is I who gets to sit around here and hold a microphone while my co-host basically bashes things with a hammer with his mouth.
Yeah, hyenas have a bit of a grip with their jaws, so you've got to put that to good use.
They're hard-headed too. It'll be fine.
Also, what's in the cup? Is it tea?
Good question.
It looks like tea. I'd assume it's tea, considering that y'all are still a penal colony.
I mean, look, what can we say? We drink tea. I drink tea. I mean, my own, native background, I drink tea.
I drink tea too. I'm from the South, so it's kind of
yeah,
a
yeah.
common practice.
Oh, tea is great. I love it. It's
I have a freezer that an entire section of the freezer is just tea.
oh yeah.
Because I keep it in the freezer so that way it stays fresh.
I love it. Like you brew your own tea, just
Yep.
straight from the leaf, hot water, bam.
Hot water, leaf, a little bit of sugar, maybe some milk or creamer, and we're good to go.
Oh, that's the best. That's the best.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, without any further ado, let us get started on the show. First item, we have sweet justice that we've been waiting for. Oh, good to know we have another fellow tea appreciator, Boombox. Hell yeah, tea and snacking on some reds. All right. Last time we've got California teen sentenced for making hoax cause a nationwide swatting spree. Now, I know you were all excited. You've all been kind of happy for this because swatting is never, ever a good thing. Let's read this. A Southern California teenager was sentenced Tuesday to 4 years in prison for making hundreds of swatting calls and threats to conduct shootings or detonate bombs against religious institutions, schools, and individual people across the country.
Where do people get time to do this? That's my question.
Well, he's a teenager, so he has plenty of time. They're trying to abandon school and everything.
True.
Right, or unless, of course, you do the whole you're either a terminally online and living the neat lifestyle, and you just do nothing productive, day in day out, and then or you just basically have an irrational streak of hatred against people you dislike or things you dislike, therefore finding all the time to do this.
Yeah, those people tend to go down rabbit holes just to find the one fire that they finally find smoke, and so they have to go find fire. But it is nice that someone's actually being punished for swatting, given that the last 10 or so years very few people have been.
Well, this case is a little, I'd say, different. Majority of the ones I've seen in the past, it's usually only been like a few. But what's this? In a plea deal, felon admitted to making about 375 swatting and fake threat calls between August 2022 and January 2024.
Okay, so at that point, why didn't they just track his phone? That's insane. Over 300? Gee.
Welcome to the American judicial system.
My guess would be that no one expected this to happen. Now, I don't know about anyone else. I don't know about how kids are taught today, but in the 90s, when I was a kid, we were told that you don't call 000 or in America 911 unless there's an actual emergency.
Yeah.
In today's world, they can track your number, and if they find you've made one call that was just to harass someone with the use of the police, you are the one who gets into trouble. Now, in this case, this individual had turned around and made it a business. So clearly thinking with money in hand. So, definitely a business type individual. The service that he was using is practically free. I mean, he'd have to figure out some way of at least concealing his identity with whatever he was using. But unfortunately, there's voice recognition, and there are other methods too. Also, blatantly posting what you're doing online tends to not help out so much.
Oh, hubris! Thy name is YouTube.
But you got to get those TikTok views, guys.
Right. You got to get all the social media clout.
Yeah. Remember, guys, Kick is a platform.
Remember, do it for the Vine, guys.
Right.
Do it for Twitter. I guess
No.
it's not Twitter anymore.
No,
Yeah.
no. What do the kid? What do people go do these days if they don't like Twitter? Do it for Blue Sky.
Oh yeah, Blue Sky.
I have one of those for some reason.
I do.
I
as
don't
well.
know. Do you basically go there to see the cesspool of people basically losing their marbles, mental illness, and as a therapy box?
No,
I
I have better things to do with my life.
also don't have to go to Twitter for that. I can just go to any other social media.
Just
So
go to
here's
Walmart.
something I didn't notice before, but apparently this wasn't just for profit, but for also fun.
Yeah.
So you also did it for shits and giggles.
The best reason to do anything for shits and gigs.
Kill people.
Because
Fun.
I wanted to. That's why.
Sounds like my mother.
Sorry, if you could scroll just up again.
Hmm.
A little bit. Here we go. What is swatting? The FBI describes swatting as a hoax designed to draw an emergency law enforcement response, often creating a situation where special weapons and tactics SWAT team arrives ready for possible violent encounter. Sometimes an individual does it to a single out someone specific. Sorry, the font's really small. But the call... That's better. But the calls can also be done in waves as a trend to seemingly random targets. Huh, I didn't realize they did it randomly.
Neither did I.
That's scary. The individuals who engage in this activity use technologies to make it appear that the emergency call is coming from the victim's phone, said one FBI public announcement in 2013. Sometimes swatting is done for revenge. Sometimes it's a prank. Either way, it's a serious crime and one that has a potential of dangerous consequences. The first FBI warned about the phenomenon was in 2008 and has arrested hundreds of people over the years. The country on federal charges stemming from swatting incidences. I don't know about any of you, but I would like to see that if the person you SWAT dies, then you get charged with at least second-degree murder in the US system.
It'd most likely come to manslaughter instead of that.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Because it's not a crime if the police do it.
Well, actually, it should be... I'm wondering why they can't use the police as basically a tool or weapon in a murder.
They can on offing yourself. An officer can actually get in trouble for assisting.
Okay. It'd be nice if they actually changed the law to stipulate that there's no difference between an individual picking up a gun and shooting somebody at a random spot to someone picking up a phone, calling a phone number to sending a police officer to someone's house, and then that police officer kills them in a, spree thing. That way, the responsibility is taken off the officer and put onto the individual who actually caused the situation to begin with.
I agree, because you're basically hiring a assassin, which is also illegal.
Well, potential assassin.
Yeah, assassin.
The other thing is, this is just basically the boy who cried wolf.
Yep. And now we wonder why it takes 25 minutes for cops to actually go to an actual phone call.
I seriously wonder how much this whole swatting thing has cost.
Several $1 million easily, because it costs about 100,000 plus per every SWAT that has to be enacted.
Yeah, I mean, police resource. It costs money to send police resources over.
Because when it comes to the SWAT team, they have to get paid hazard pay on top of their regular pay whenever they go into a situation like that.
Yep.
So on average, depending on the SWAT team, a SWAT team is usually 12 to 15 people, so they're getting their normal salary plus hazard pay. And if he did this over 300 times and it had SWAT even half of that, that's several $1,000,000 to different police departments.
I don't know about any of you, but I would see a fun joke to really piss someone off would be filling a bucket of water and putting it on top of a door. Just so when the door opens, it dunks on someone.
Yeah,
Mhm.
see, that's funny and harmless, unless the bucket breaks and then we have a carry situation. But, what are the likelihood of that happening on prom night?
A lot less frequent than a prom night dumpster baby.
Well,
Thank you, Family Guy, for that.
the logic on how to interact with other people, at least, this is just wrong. And I love the fact that people think that this kind of thing is perfectly fine. I
mean,
really do.
You have kids now that think it's okay to just carjack people. So, yeah, it's crazy, man. The world's all screwed up.
And it all stems
hell-
from parents not disciplining their children because everybody's too scared to discipline their kids. It's like, oh, you spank your kid. Oh, that's abuse. No. You yell at your kid in public. Oh, well, you're being verbally abusive. No. If my kid's fucking up, then I'm going to sit there and correct that child.
Here's the thing. When you don't correct a child, what happens when they think that running around is perfectly fine? What happens when they start doing that while you're walking down the sidewalk? What happens when that little shit ends up running into, say, a bus going at full speed?
Then it's the bus driver's fault, not the kid nor the parents at that point, because the legal system.
Yay, the U.S. justice system.
That exists.
Yay, the U.S. injustice system.
There
Where
we go.
I
That's better.
it's supposed to be fairly tame here, yet we get kids that think that stabbing people in a shop is a good idea, pushing people into the water is a good idea. One person drowned. I mean, it's a great way to, burgle someone. Unfortunately, when the person you throw into the water drowns, you kind of get put on murder charges.
Yeah.
The idiots.
We saw that on a Kick stream not that long ago. What is the world coming to?
Yes.
I can't wait to see what's next.
Pandemic, we'll get to that in just a bit, right? But at the end of the day, though, I think we can all kind of breathe a sigh of relief because at least now, these squatters are basically doing the time.
It would be nice to see laws brought in specifically for people who do make fake calls like this,
Right,
and
or
be really harsh.
Great, stretch it out one step further. Make false reports, false accusations, and all that.
I have an idea. The police system is funded by the city, like the city people's taxes. Why don't the people who SWAT also have to pay a fine for doing so back to the city? Because you're essentially wasting taxpayer resources.
That's going to be part of the reparations he has to pay anyway.
Yeah.
I hate to think how much.
But this happened in California, right?
Yeah, it happened in California.
Unfortunately, there's going to be no law changes. This kid's essentially basically going to get a slap on the wrist with how California tends to view criminality.
Yeah, and in fact, he's probably already out walking around trying to swap more people.
Most likely. Would not surprise me. Not in the slightest.
Mm-hmm. No. I think that's just the way it is.
I'm genuinely surprised that they even actually arrested the guy, considering how defunded the state of California is for their police department.
Well, Sorry, go ahead, Noble.
Sorry. It sounds like the FBI basically got involved.
They're just as useful as the police department.
Actually, in a rare turn of events, the state of California will sue the FBI for interfering in California's business.
They're going to sue because they violated his civil liberties by arresting him.
Yep.
Because it's his legal right
Cali.
to do whatever he wants.
preferably without facing the consequences, as is the in the California way.
My, the consequences of my own actions.
Those
Yeah.
don't
That's a
exist, not in
criminal offense.
California.
I mean, who knows? California probably needs the money after the wildfires, so maybe this will actually.
No. Who? Like, let's be real here. Like, no. After all, you'd be right. You're not wrong. But in truth, where the money goes to California.
True.
I have a solution for all of that. Let's just break California off. It's already started. Let's just break it off and let it go into the ocean. Don't have to worry about wildfires
Yeah,
anymore.
I mean that this is precisely the reason why we did a couple of episodes on the California wildfires, because it was just such a a spectacle. Not not that I wished on a California residents, but on the state itself.
I mean, California is always on fire. Didn't Red Hot Chili Peppers make a song about that?
Yes, I'm pretty sure there's been multiple songs made about that.
It's a real shame that people can't be bothered building things that are more sort of better for the community, or at least things that don't damage it horribly.
Why do that? Then they can't get the money from all the repairs.
If they make it right the first time, then they can't charge you for repairing it the second time.
It's like curing cancer. There's no sense in curing it. There's no money to be made.
All right. Well, we're going to move on to the next item on the show now. We have Article 2. Lego can be anti-LGBT, says Science Museum. Institution seeing things queerly tour claims people think the toy bricks are gendered and reinforces the idea that heterosexuality is the norm.
But Legos come in rainbow colors. What?
Right. It's shocking.
They're literally a rainbow factory.
Yes, they are.
It's kind of funny because Lego can help you build a stable foundation, or at least give you the knowledge on how to do it.
And
I wonder if that's problematic.
Precisely.
Legos can... That should be Lego's new tagline. We build a stable foundation, unlike your father that left you.
He went to get the milk but never came back.
He got lost in the price of cigarettes.
Right? Have you seen the prices of cigarettes?
You want to know about the price of cigarettes? You talk to me first. Because down here, cigarettes, unlike you guys, cigarettes are basically taxed up the wazoo.
It's $9. It's $9 a pack to get the pack of cigarettes that I like to have. $9. Actually, no, sorry, it's $10 now for a singular pack of cigarettes.
Right. And how much you getting a packet? 20, 25, 30?
There's 20 cigarettes in a pack. So you're essentially paying like 50 cents a cigarette.
Oh, dude. If you want to complain about cigarette prices and the price ratio, we here in Australia say, hold my beer.
Oh no, I know. Trust me, I do not want to go anywhere like that. It's like in Mexico. I was shocked. I was like, yeah, I'd like to get 3 packs of cigarettes. It's like, okay, that'll be $6. What? $6 for 3 packs of cigarettes? Hell yeah, I know where I'm going.
Oh, dude, that's why if I ever take you to my motherland, you'd basically live it up buying all the cheap cigarettes that you ever want, and clove ones too.
Fun fact about cigarette laws: in the state of New York, you cannot braid in outside cigarettes.
So let's say you're coming from out of state, you can't have a pack of cigarettes in your car from, let's say, New Jersey.
Nope, you have to buy all your cigarettes in New York. Yay! And pay like $15 a pack. Even more, yay!
Remind me not to go to New York.
It's fun. It's all fun and games if you don't smoke, but yeah, don't smoke while you're in New York. Then you can go through withdrawals. You can be like every other New York citizen. It'll be great.
Good luck with that. I've been smoking half my life. No, thank you.
Good luck to them too, because I don't smoke, and I'm surrounded by people who smoke day in day out. So fun. Anyway, to move on to back, let's get back on topic here. Article here. Lego can be anti-LGBT, and this tool, devised by Gender and Sexuality Network at the museum, also claims in the Seeing Things Queerly guide that Lego adds credence to the view that there are only two genders. This is because people supposedly describe Lego bricks as having male or female parts that are made to mate with each other.
Wait. If that's the basis, do they also just hate cables? Because cables have a male and female part.
Right. So do other things, including seatbelts and that.
Well, technically, a cable cannot have it because it's something you need to add on.
True.
Right, like, if it's like things like computer,
It's like the difference between an American plug and an Australian plug.
This whole argument reminds me about the whole master-slave issue in computing and technology. It's like a master device and a slave device. Oh, we can't use that. That's problematic. Like, are you fucking serious?
Actually, even speaking of computers, there's male and female parts for USB ports.
Yup.
Exactly.
It's called a dongle for a reason.
let me go plug that into the computer.
Remember, use the male part to the female part. Two male parts don't make a whole.
Okay, but seriously, Joel, if they're upset about objects having a gender, may I present to you any Latin language?
Right.
Yep.
I might know a thing or two out of that, because their language is actually gendered.
Mm-hmm.
I have to wonder whether or not the whole building a solid foundation sort of comes into this as well. Because that's what Lego can teach you. I mean, if you build something out of Lego, you can build it so it will take a bit of stress, or you could build in such a way where it just falls down.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it just goes all the way up and up and up, as high as you want, as wide as you want, and all that. But really, though, to get back into this, the guide states that this, whatever the Legos are, is heteronormative, which is the idea that heterosexuality and the female gender binary are the norm, and everything that falls outside is unusual.
I myself am strange and unusual.
I'm guessing they forget the basics of biology, which is two genders is a radical idea.
Right.
Because originally, when a cell wanted to, when you wanted to get more in a population, basic life forms would split into two.
Yes.
So there wasn't sex at all. But it was discovered that if you took two different organisms of a similar, well, let's go species, and sort of mash them together and spit out a little bit, you could turn around, you could create something with more adaptive, or have a different function to see if it works better. Evolution proved to be a bit more helpful in reproduction, and that's the reason why there's male and female.
Well, you see, Noble, the people who are complaining about Legos also believe in the splitting in two method. They just call it mental breakdowns.
Seriously, going through this, it's like their head is completely in the gutter and they can't think about anything but sex.
That's exactly it. Like, they've described the whole Lego, the joinery of Lego processes as mating, and how the structures are built is considered mating.
So does that mean the scientists are furries?
Yes.
A particular type of furry, I'd like to think, but yeah.
I'm pretty sure we can all guess which that one is. Foxes.
I thought rabbits were more horny.
Right.
No, only if they're Catholic.
Oh, man. Oh, definitely a good choice today.
Definitely we picked the choice of all things and all people, right?
Hey, I'm a walking shitpost, guys. I never know what's going to come out of my mouth. I surprise myself even.
That's
You know-
why we have. That's why we love you for it.
You know that the Reddit alien? That's essentially me.
Yeah. What about the Reddit alien?
No, that's essentially me. I am Reddit.
Oh well, what do you know?
It's better than calling yourself TikTok.
Okay, this is the point I really have to I have to pick at. Children who play with Lego don't need to be told that some people say fitting Lego bricks together is mating.
Right.
I agree.
And,
Yeah, they do because the Alphabet Mafia has to push their agenda.
right.
I
and that's
love. Sorry. There's a term. If you look at a dictionary properly and you go through dictionaries from like the last 100 years, you will find that terminations meanings for things will change. For instance, there is a term still used today called mounting a horse. Now, if you said that, say, with a different type of animal, that basically sounds wrong. But if you go onto a farm where they've got horses for riding and say, oh, I'd like to mount a horse, what do they think they're going to do? They're going to go get you a bloody saddle so you can ride the thing.
See, but Nova, if I'm in the furry community, mounting a horse could take an entire different meaning.
So does the term bear. I swear, context is everything, and these assholes are ignoring it completely.
I agree.
You could have so much fun with that.
It's just
Right,
weird that so many male and female is actually a very construction term. Like lots of stuff in construction is referred to as the male and female.
Are you assuming it's gender?
Yes, I am.
yeah.
Just
And not just in construction, but in things as like something that's so easy to make a joke with. Plumbing is a very gender. Yeah.
Because
And
good God knows, if you don't use a male and a female adapter, you're gonna have shit everywhere.
I love this. I thought it was bad when the quote unquote gay. Oh, hang on, no, that's the wrong term.
Yeah, that's
the
the thing.
Alphabet
That's the,
Mafia decided to do the whole Lego thing, and now, which I thought was causing some destruction in the whole Lego community, and now the Alphabet Mafia are going after the whole Lego community again.
Come at me, bro.
Seriously? You're gonna get a stick up your ass over Lego. What's next?
the stick
Fruit
might be
Loops?
made. The stick might be made of Legos.
Is it going to be Lego, or is it going to be regular Lego, or is it going to be Duplo? Because if it's Duplo, then it's wider, works better.
Oh man.
What hole does it go in? The square hole. That would have done numbers on Vine.
I believe it though. But then again, this is the shocking part about all this is like a science museum of all things felt it necessary to display the to go off and do this. Like, this is science, this is Lego, and this proves that this the hetero way is the true way. Not, you can't, not because Legos are so and so.
Here's a question, just
Yeah.
to clarify: what country is Lego from?
Denmark.
Right.
Yeah, Lego from.
The Danes don't give two flying fucks as long as the money comes in.
Exact. As a business, shouldn't really care as long as unless it cuts into your bottom line.
Disney's finding that out.
Yes.
Yeah. Did you know that Disneyland has been surveying people about when they if they're gonna have like an inheritance, So now it's now us peasants.
Seriously?
Yeah. So now us peasants can't exactly afford to go to Disneyland for holiday.
Well, it's not like I want to go to Disney World anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I had my chance. I already had my chance and took it like some nearly 10 years back.
I went when I was like 5 or 6. I don't really remember it, but it was fun.
Yeah,
Don't
I
necessarily have to
mean,
go again.
exactly. I mean, I had fun. My folks had fun. We went there. We and this was just before the onset of the Zootopia release.
Oh no.
I
No,
went
no,
probably
no, no.
about 10 years before the Zootopia release,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
we still had what was it? The Incredibles when that was still big, and Lilo and
yeah.
Stitch too. Those were still huge at Disney during that time.
I mean, we had all that stuff. I had the whole, Fast and Furious rides, Pirates, Star Wars, and all that. But that face when I still don't get to see the Nick and Judy suit because they were not out yet. Yeah.
I'm just ready for the second movie to come out. I've been waiting almost 10 years.
Doesn't matter though. Hey, on the plus side though, people like us get to have the rising world of theme parks. We get to have like Universal Studios as Nintendo World, and in the future we'll have another block theme park called the Minecraft World.
Yes.
Can they just open a theme park centered around Blockbuster?
No. Can I have the Blockbuster experience of renting a game that has all the Blockbuster tape on it?
I my dad and I used to go to Blockbuster every Friday. I miss Blockbuster.
Yeah, I know. Good times. Good times of renting and stuff. Those were the days. I miss them too. Now, though, we are going to move forward to the third item on this show. Completely different segue here. We have an AI theme topic. The US Copyright Office declares generative AI can't be protected by copyright, quoting, "The requisite level of creativity is extremely low." So, the US Copyright Office has declared that product of generative AI cannot be protected by copyright due to its lack of originality and a human author.
Yeah, and I think if I read this correctly, you can still use elements of generative AI, but it can't be the entire finished product. Which makes sense,
Right. Like all things considered, you use an AI to generate a thing, like whether it be a picture, God forbid, even music or even a quick video snippet. And unfortunately, it's not covered by protection because it's curated by an AI.
This is really going to be a bit difficult for Disney if they decide to, start firing a shit ton of people and just go with some AI model to create all their movies.
I agree.
So we just got to wait for the tail end of 2025 then.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
So
if they can't copyright this, anyone would be able to turn around, buy a copy of or even download it illegally, package it up in a disc or something, and then just start selling it to people. And it's not breach of copyright because there's no copyright because it's all AI.
So what I'm hearing, Noble, is that later this year, generative AI will be considered copyrightable because Disney will have used it.
Pretty much.
Makes sense.
I would wonder how hard Disney would have to fight for that to be a thing. But then again, considering what they did with Mickey Mouse, shit.
It wouldn't take much. They just throw a couple $1 billion a certain way.
Yep.
Wait, would they even have that these days?
Okay,
Yeah.
listen. Just because they would spend their last $2 doesn't mean they're broke, okay? It just means that they're working on it.
Mm-hmm.
There's enough people with Disney Plus subscriptions. They'll keep going for at least another year.
Well, that makes me wonder how many of them they're actually going to kill off in the meantime.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they sure know how to kill the mom.
Ooh.
Right. So to understand this a bit more better, the Copyright Office emphasizes that copyright protection in the US requires human authorship. So basically, if it's 100% AI made, no, you can't get it. you cannot get this copyrighted.
I would be interested in learning about the technical analysis they do to determine if it's 100% AI or not, though. It'd be very intriguing.
They just run it
Right.
through another AI software, I'm sure.
Probably. Hey, AI, is this made by you? Yes. Okay, good enough for me.
There we go.
Imagine
Game recognizes game.
imagine an actual digital artist who does this all hand drawn and it looks just so similar enough to AI that
They fools the AI.
yeah.
That's happened a few times already.
I mean there was one TikTok of mine that got labeled as AI generated content when it was me. It was literally me.
Who basically did the video, and yet the TikTok itself basically flagged it as AI content.
Yep.
Wow.
So
Well,
are you
what do you know?
secretly a Tesla robot?
No. Okay, I'm not with Tesla. I'm with Oh wait, we can't say that yet. You guys haven't learned about that yet.
I knew it. You were with Skynet. I knew it.
We're bigger than Skynet.
No, are
Legion?
you the Chinese? Are you DeepSeek?
Oh no, he figured us out. Oh wait, no wait. If I'm DeepSeek, I cannot. That's not in my database. Sorry.
I cannot confirm nor deny.
Exactly.
I plead the fifth.
No, like if you were DeepSeek to say let's talk, you would just say the 5 words. Let's talk about something else.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like consider just how funny it was. Like when you tried to push DeepSeek's buttons to get to say what you wanted to say.
My favorite thing about DeepSeek is it would start talking about the government and then be like, "Oh, sorry, we have an error."
Sounds about right.
Yeah. Like, I mean, considering if it's a government-based AI, you'll kind of know that they've got to cover up the parts that are not exactly so pleasant for it. No.
Exactly. And that's how history is made. Yay!
I can
Yay.
remember in the Fur Affinity forums when people were busting a nut over using an iPad to draw with.
Yeah. Digital art.
And then and now AI has basically reshifted over the creative industry paradigm now. And it's not just with the case of like using art, but in the case of script writers, because like in our case, the Writers Guild in America, like people who write movies and all that shit are basically going on strike because of AI. So where's all the creative power going? Go on.
Yeah, went to the lawyers.
Wait.
Who get to
Wait. So if AI generated content can't be copyrighted, then I have a Beatles song that needs to be the public domain.
Do it.
Yeah, well, I know a Beatles song that needs to just be yeeted out and just and refixed.
I'm pretty sure I can select about half of their catalog that needs to be gone.
Especially ones by a Beatles artist as well. I mean, let's start with Imagine by John Lennon.
Oh yes.
I'm so sick of seeing that every New Year's.
Yeah, no, I think we all are.
Well, I used to like the Beatles until my mom bought my dad the box set with all of their stuff. And my father is a DJ, and he decided, you know what, I'm going to do a Beatles mix. One Beatles mix turned into 6, and then the Beatles was on replay for 3 years in my house.
Was it as replayed as 2015 Summertime Sadness?
Take that and quadruple the number and then add 12.
Whoa. That's a lot.
Yeah, that's basically
Yeah.
playing it day in day out on the on every shift of the day, the phase of the
Yep.
day.
Pretty much. We'd get in the car, he'd load up the Beatles. We'd go home, he'd load up the Beatles on the sound system.
It sounds like you just had an insect infection.
Might as well have been. At least then we could have sprayed for the problem.
It's stories like this that I sit back and think, well, you're all getting overexcited over nothing. I mean, AI is still under a huge amount of development. We haven't even reached its halfway yet.
Right.
And this
Which
is
is-
how,
And people are treating like it's the be all end all.
Yep.
It's nuts. It's not.
I mean, Noble, think about how much people freaked out about the internet way back when we were children.
It was a fad
Yeah,
initially.
the internet's just a fad. It'll go away.
I wish it would have.
Yeah,
I mean, if only I was old enough to remember the the .com boom and all of that. But no, I wasn't.
that's
That's
okay.
always been fun.
We're reliving the .com boom with the AI boom. Just
Yeah.
This
throw
is how we get Terminators, guys.
throw AI as a term and people will buy it.
Yeah,
Just add a few buzzwords, and then you could be Tesla.
Add a few buzzwords and you can be any Gen Z or Gen Alpha graduate from a comp sci degree.
I'd rather not. I have more self-respect.
Have you tried your A-star algorithm?
That made no sense to me whatsoever.
Exactly. That's all the new grads talk about. A-star algorithm. Come on, man. Don't you know about it? Yes, I know about it.
Why don't you go try running a DDoS program? Have fun with that. Actually, hold on. No. Load up Windows Vista and then talk.
Oh,
Good times with
good
Vista.
old Vista.
I miss
Alright.
Vista.
Still worse though. So, to get back into this whole thing, like basically the standard of it is kind of low. Like a lot of works could actually make the grade because at least they'd have, some creative spark. And really, what AI does with prompts is that prompts are like what the US Copyright Office says is that prompts function as instructions that convey unprotectable ideas, while highly detailed prompts could contain the user's desired expressive elements. At present, they do not control how the AI system processes them in generating the output. Like, you ever notice, like, whenever you try to generate an image or something with AI, and then it just spits something out, and you're like, okay, what have they done? This is not exactly what I wanted. Right?
Yeah.
It's kind of like you get one thing, and then the AI just adds a whole million other things.
Yeah, I mean, the last time I tried to be like, hey, I just want a cat, an anthropomorphic cat, it gave me a Twitch streamer for some reason.
Seriously?
Yeah, it gave me what looked essentially like a Twitch e-girl wearing cat ears, and I'm like, this is not what I had in mind.
On DeviantArt, I was in a group and someone decided to this was basically a Pokemon group. And someone decided to submit art of humans, and I'm like, this isn't a Pokemon. And like, oh yes, it is. Blah blah blah. And I'm like, it's a girl dressed in blue clothing, and she kept going off about how, oh no, they know what Pokemon my friends. And I'm like, I ended up passing this person off to one in charge, and they're like, oh, I've dealt with this before. Seriously.
Yeah, it's really crazy. Like like you really think about it. Like you go back to the whole thing. Like when you deal with people, you can control this stuff, oversee, direct, and all of that. But with AI, no.
Well,
Like with AI, you do things like you have to do a shit ton of things, or even like God forbid, you do a prompt injection to get it to do what you want.
Yeah,
to a certain degree.
Listen, Joel, you can only oversee and direct people if they don't get their feelings hurt. All right.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're oppressing them.
Obviously, they haven't worked retail.
No, or any other job where that that's under the thumb of like supervision and management and all that, but still. I mean, still, that's just the thing. Like, you can with AI, like you don't exactly know they you don't exactly know like what your quote unquote creative vision, if at that gets you 100% the result you want. It could never be. It never can.
No, there are times it has come pretty darn close though, which is
No,
impressive.
let's look at this one here just as an example here with this cat here. Prompt: professional photo. Bespectacled cat in a robe reading the Sunday newspaper and smoking a pipe. Foggy, wet, stormy. 70mm cinematic, highly detailed wood, cinematic lighting, intricate, sharp focus, medium shot, brackets centered image composition, brackets professionally color graded, brackets bright, soft, and diffused light, volumetric fog, HDR 4K, 8K realistic, and the output is this.
Why does the cat have human hands?
Right.
Because
No. Burn it. Burn it with fire.
All right, look.
some cats
this,
have thumbs.
all someone's doing is writing a description of an image. That's it. I have to admit, though, when I've been playing around with image generation like this, it's a real pain in the ass to find a list of body poses, especially if you're looking at a particular type. I did find an old book and a very poorly scanned image, which I couldn't get my hands on, describing different sort of poses. The other thing I'd like to see is if someone was to spend the actual time in drawing different styles of furry type hands, because I have found that there's probably one or two that I really like, but when you try to describe it to an image generator, it kind of just loses its senses.
And this is why I will always buy art from people.
I mean, yes, AI can be a very good touchstone if you need a very a rudimentary idea or a character you want to generate, like and you can't have the ideas to do it yourself.
The Beastar's hands and feet kind of make me freak out a bit every time I see it. It's like, oh god, that's horrible.
Right, but at least that's Paru's artistic and style and creativity and design. But to wrap up this little bit here, just to get to the bottom line, if we're reading this, similarly, the inclusion of elements of AI-generated content in a larger human authored work does not affect the copyrightability of the larger human authored work as a whole. For example, a film that includes AI-generated special effects or background artwork is copyrightable, even if the AI effects and artwork separately are not. So, you are, to get back into what you were asking, Dragons, you can actually, theoretically, you could use AI if you were doing something, large scale and elaborate, to a certain degree. But you must not use AI like from the from the conception of the project from the get go.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, so realistically, like you got people who are asking, can I make this and this with AI? Yeah, go for it. Just bits and pieces of it, not the whole damn thing.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. Is AI, to answer the whole question, is using AI a creative process? I'll let you quickly answer that.
I would say that it probably is, as long as it's used with the intention of enhancing the creative process, not replacing it.
No.
When the whole rocket thing sort of took off again in America, there was a bit of a problem. So they had all these rockets. All the people who had built them had long since passed away and died. Nobody who worked on the rockets were around anymore. So NASA had a bit of a problem. There were tricks and techniques and all these little things that the engineers would do in order to make sure the rockets functioned. And it was all lost. My understanding is brain rot's going to cause significant issues where in the future you're going to have people turning around and finding old stories from like the 1800s, the 1900s, the 90s, the 2000s, and they're going to be shocked.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be utterly shocking to them. How could people live like that, spending their time writing everything out, drawing it all?
They sat there and used their hands to build stuff. Holy crap!
Turns
So
out it's
crude. That is so crude and slow and old and just inefficient. And why would you do that?
because it's very cathartic. That's why.
I
Because
remember
America.
I remember another story where the US military had this substance for something like 50 years, and it was the same sort of situation. It was important. The people who had developed it had all passed away and were gone, and they had no idea if it was still even functional
I
or
mean,
how to make it.
I was gonna say it's the same thing with the pyramids, Noble. Like we have theories of how they were designed, but we don't know actually how to do them. There's been no periods built since they were built.
Periods.
Pyramids.
That's on period, guys. That's on
That's
period.
on period. Pyramids. There we go. Periods. No periods.
Okay. Do we have
It's
one
just-
last story?
It's just a mess of run-on sentences.
Oh yeah, you gotta be careful. And I thought I was the one who was bad at tripping over my tongue.
My
This is
English
why-
teacher would be
this is why-
ashamed.
This is why I love doing this with you guys. This is why I love doing the show with you guys. Yes, we do got one more story. Yes, we're gonna stretch this out because we can, and I hope you guys can stretch this out for another good 15 minutes or so. Let's do it.
But I'm not that flexible.
Clearly, my
Aw.
tongue is not that flexible.
Sorry about that. All right, next one item that we've got here. Dungeons and Dragons' doomed attempt to make orcs unproblematic will please no one. Dungeons and Dragons orcs are more complex and sympathetic than ever, which sits badly with the murderous simplicity of D&D adventuring. So have a read. The earliest version of orcs in Dungeons and Dragons was a simple, violent threat to civilization that needed to be pacified by brave adventurers, which unfortunately echoed stereotypes used against tribal and indigenous human cultures. This version of the player's handbook gives orcs a sunnier disposition, but this only makes it more obvious how much the core fantasy of D&D relies on the existence of uncomplicated baddies that players can bash without remorse. Alright, let's stop there.
So, who is making the comparisons to tribal and indigenous human cultures?
Right,
when
the
they're
author,
playing-
the author Timothy Linwood seems to be like, they seem to think that orcs are basically, these bad, these bad tribes or whatever who are like savages.
Oh, you can't use that word.
Yeah, how dare you?
Seriously?
That's offensive, Joel.
I apologize if this word if the choice of words that I have used has offended these indigenous people and indigenous cultures, and for that I will now basically bow. I will now basically prostrate for forgiveness.
But on a serious note, what happened to make believe? Does it not exist anymore?
All right.
No, it won't.
Hang on. Here's a question. Why not split orcs into two different species?
Right.
Seriously, what would be so difficult with turning around and having two different versions of them? One that's off in some far off land that lived normally. They get cursed or some weird ass bullshit, and then they go into where the main story is and basically tear everything a fucking sunder. I mean, seriously, why not actually have a reason instead of turning around and trying to do this?
And to sanitize them, to make them. I guess here's the problem with the curse at hand: modern writing. Because you know what though, like in old writing stuff, like Lord of the Rings and Tolkien, you had like friggin' orcs were basically simple, irredeemable, and corrupted, baddies. Simple as that. Everyone knew, people knew what they were. They're that. Now the problem with modern writing is orcs are just misunderstood. You gotta cuddle up to them.
But there's
You
gotta-
there's
You gotta
examples of
therapize them.
there's examples of orcs being the anti-heroes in modern writing that is good and not this oversimplified crap that D&D is trying to do.
seriously, if you sit there and look at the, I'm sorry, but orcs kind of remind me of the whole Viking thing when it came to England,
Mm-hmm.
because
The
all Viking,
Anglo-Saxons.
most Vikings would basically go out, rape and pillage. That was it. And then you had the others started coming along. Why couldn't they have that? You know,
Because it would require an additional 5 pages.
No, you're right. Like all things considered, if you want to overcomplicate it with the, all this world building, you gotta write a new friggin', extra pages into the, the player's handbook and all that. And yeah,
Or just keep with the general mass of your game players instead of trying to correct it for a very slim margin of people that want
right. Or like
gentrified
that,
things.
or that sort of thing. Like they wish, oh, but I want to play an orc that's not, that's not dumb and unintelligible. That'll have to be a half orc. Or I want to play an orc that's at least good to some degree. I
Then
mean,
you
yeah,
roll for initiative and figure it out.
right.
And clearly, these people have never heard of DM house rules. You can play an
Right,
orc.
right.
You can play an orc.
DM
but...
is God. The DM is God. He decides your fate.
Exactly.
I'd have to wonder how things would play out if they only had one kind of dragon and then tried to turn around and say, oh, but not all dragons are like this. Oh, they're misunderstood. Yeah, they've got several different types of colored dragons that do different things.
Yeah.
Why not do that with the orcs?
Because it
You know,
requires brain function.
Oh, I wonder how much that costs these days.
Entirely too much. That's why they invented AI.
I think for them it's just honestly easier to lose their mind about orcs than it would about dragons. It's just, because otherwise, I don't think it'd go over well if you tried to do the whole, the whole offensive game against dragons.
No, because dragons are hot.
And
Well-
fiery. And if you basically tell them that that you're offended because you're a dragon, they'll just burn you to a crisp.
Yep.
Crispy.
Extra crispy or original recipe.
Yeah.
I love Foghorn Leghorn.
Yeah. And unfortunately now, that's the thing, but now, this problem here, it basically has been stretching beyond Dungeons and Dragons now, with the orcs thing. I mean, look at the friggin' Lord of the Rings of Power. Look at what they're trying to do with the orcs. They're trying to say, orcs, these orc peoples have, families and stuff. I mean, not that I, have watched the Rings of Power, but I do pay enough attention to it.
I'm just glad it hasn't bled into Warhammer yet.
Give it time. Give it
I
time.
know, no, we don't need to. Leave my greenskins alone, okay?
So Warhammer, have they shown any progressive sort of signs lately?
I mean, they had tried to do stuff with the Adeptus Custodes being female.
Mm-hmm. And basically, very swiftly got rid of that.
Yeah, gee. I wonder why. At least that Warhammer 40,000 and all that can somehow keep its stuff pure. And
Yeah,
the
'cause
Warhammer
it's-
fan base seems to know what it wants.
Yeah, and it's a studio that actually listened.
Right?
What? Studios listening to their target demographics? What? No,
I
that
mean,
doesn't happen.
I mean, I get it. Games Workshop isn't exactly perfect, but still.
We got to bully the studios into doing what we want. We did it with Sonic. We can do it again.
No,
At least Sonic had the good sense to listen. Games Workshop is doing something, but friggin' Hasbro. Come on, what do you expect from Hasbro? Or Wizards of the Coast, for that matter. But yeah, either way though, But can you imagine? But no dragons. Let's just humor your idea for a bit. Like, what happens if they try to give the Warhammer 40k orcs the same treatment? Like, are we gonna like forever lose their friggin' the signature statements like Wa and Mordaka?
We better not. I want to
Yeah.
start a Wah.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't realize you were a red panda.
Oh no. I know, right? But seriously though, yeah, here's the thing, like that we seem to see that modern writing has a big gripe on. It's just they're trying to stop making orcs the definitive you punchable villains because they're inherently evil. And you think that you like, and that's the thing, like they don't want these orcs to be just irredeemably evil just because.
I mean, have you seen most politicians? They all look like orcs, so I get it. It's coming from the top down.
Right. And I can't. Yeah. And I kind of get it. It's just it's so relatable, and that's why they're they're losing their minds at having the comparisons to orcs.
Man, I miss the good old D&D games or
Mhm.
days when you could just go punch an orc and you didn't have to feel bad about it. Or you weren't told to feel bad about it. I
No,
guess.
you could say the same deal with goblins. Remember, like couple, some weeks back, we did an episode on regarding the same topic of Dungeons and Dragons, and they're using modifiers to say goblins are bad. Like you have to use an adjective modifier to say that goblins are attacking. And this is the part where it got funny, is that some of the modifiers that that goblins that you had to attach to goblins included things like men's rights activists and the best but that wasn't the best modifier used. What about refugees?
Oh no.
Yeah, they actually said the quiet part out loud. Yeah. Without even realizing it. It's but people like us who are in the know just know that, oh dude, you done fucked up. You just gave us all a bunch of red pills.
They're delicious.
Mm-hmm.
I take 2 with every breakfast item.
Yes.
They taste like cherry.
I mean, if I've never, well, good to know. I've always wondered what the taste of a red pill would have been. Then again,
I don't know. I assume.
but if it's cherry tasting, that would be perfect. They'd at least make it so palatable to the point where you just like you gotta want more. But yeah, no. Yeah, no. Now instead we're stuck with orcs that basically look like frontiers people. Some would argue even the people in the Mexican border.
Oh.
Yeah. They made them a bunch of friggin' ranches and what have you
That
in
is
Dungeons and Dragons.
that's worse than what they were.
Right. Considering orcs were basically the a bunch of barbarians in that, and now this. No, right? I mean, to you, what would you think the the ideal orc would be like depicted as?
Well, right now I think Warhammer with greenskins is doing it pretty right. So I'm gonna have to go with the greenskins.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like, and even, I mean, could you imagine? Yeah, could you imagine? Yeah, like, let's just say you put like a different, in a different context, like in a modern context, like what would you imagine the orcs would be depicted at if taking the Mexican style frontiersmen, what would you think the orcs would be depicted as in a more modern contemporary setting?
Hmm.
That's yeah.
I wouldn't consider it.
No, I mean, I'd be hard pressed to agree with you. They just look so out of place. But yeah, I agree. It's a bit. But you know what though? I will say this though. They did make it work in future sci-fi setting like Warhammer 40,000, where they just shoot do what they did. But hey, but hey, it could be worse, right? I mean, I think it's almost at this point we just have to like take back the orcs for what they really are meant to be, like the way that Tolkien imagined them to be.
I agree.
Mm.
You know what?
So, yeah.
Speaking of modern writing, I think I'm going to now write a book about an orc that plays with Legos and punches people who try to SWAT.
You know what? I think that would be a really really good fit though. Just
So-
and yeah.
So you're just gonna write a Tumblr blog?
Yes, exactly.
Do it.
And doubly more so with the help of AI. If at that.
But then he can't copyright a story.
No, I can if I start with the title and say this is my original work. See, I started with the title.
And there you go. And now that's basically got its human handprint on it. Bam.
Once upon a time, I cohorted with AI.
Bam, the US Copyright Office ain't got nothing on me now.
Yeah.
My work is copyrightable.
I have transcended all common logic, and now we are just in the insane.
Insane in the membrane.
All right. So, and with that, that is what we've got to share with you for the rest of the, for the week that has passed. So, who'd like to just give us a quick closing statement for the week that passed, and us about what we've just talked about.
Well, I think now that we've talked about Legos, I'm gonna have to actually pull out the Mandalorian helmet that I've been putting off and build it with my male and female pieces.
I'll make sure to go to my Lego shelves and tell them that there's no transsexual Legos. I'll make sure to tell them that.
I'll make sure I'll probably make sure that whatever Lego piece they have, that they got to keep mating to so that their foundations can grow even taller and wider than they already are.
For the glory of the Empire.
We don't like the Empire. We play greenskins.
And what about you, Noble?
With the whole Lego thing, I just find it interesting how desperate people are to try to, get their 15 seconds of fame. Dungeons and Dragons. Oh, for crying out loud. I loved how they tried to, change things. What was it, a few years ago? And it just basically crashed and burned for them.
Yeah.
And this is just getting better.
Yeah.
Oh, I had an idea. I had an idea
honestly,
for the kid. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
For that California kid, I really would have loved to have seen him in handcuffs. I should probably look up video footage and photos to see if there's anything of him, in handcuffs. But, kids do kids. Unfortunately, gets people killed.
Yeah. Or somebody else could just SWAT the police department where he's at.
There we go. And this is how you organize a jailbreak 101. Except they're using police resources to organize to do the jailbreak.
I seriously wonder if they'd be that thick, but whatever.
It would not surprise me.
We're on the way, Luigi. We'll free you.
We've just
your brother Mario's on his way.
Help for that. But yeah. But of course, that comes to the end of the show for the week. I'd like to thank you all for tuning in, and I hope you enjoyed this as much as we did making it. As always, thank you to our panelists. Can't do this without you. Love you guys. You guys are awesome.
Hey, thanks for having us.
Yeah, always. And of course, I'd love to have you on again in the weeks ahead. And of course, as always, you can find our episodes on Podbean, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, TuneIn, Play.fm, iHeartRadio, BitChute, and more platforms further down the line. Well then, that is us signing off for a week. Farewell, and until next time.
Alrighty.
Bye, everybody.
Goodbye.
Bye.